Black power, y'all. Come on in the room. I'm gonna give y'all just a little bit before we really chop it up. This is your host, the revolutionary Jimmy Fallon. Just kidding. My name is Comrade Robert. And this is PROPER-GANDER.
What if I pause it here? Will it affect that and it looks like it?
Black power, comrades.
Ask them if they can hear you.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Because I have muted. Ask them. Okay.
Moon! Black power.
No, see, so if I pause it from my computer, they can't hear you. I can't. I need to turn it off.
What do you mean?
This music.
Alright. Black power, comrades. This is your boy Rob. This is PROPER-GANDER. This is a show that Black Hammer puts on where we expose the white nationalist narratives in just your everyday mainstream media. And today we're talking about the Netflix hit series Stranger Things. Stranger Things is a show about your just regular American youth who pretty much have like this little girl who has powers, and she's like fighting demons from like another dimension, what they call the upside down or whatever. That's just a short overview of the show. But I gotta admit, I don't really like this show that much, but yeah, well, I definitely powered through it, especially for the third season, because the third season specifically has a lot just unabashedly anti-communist, anti-Russian themes peppered throughout the whole thing, really consistently. I just want to shout, before we really get into it, I just want to shout out my org, Black Hammer. I really don't do this just to talk about nerd stuff. I do it as a fundraiser and membership drive for my org. If you like what you're seeing, if you like what we do, if you know about the homeless food drives, if you know about the defense classes that we're doing for gender and sexually non-conforming African trans people, who's doing that? Doing gun clubs in Atlanta. What else? We're fighting for what's it called?
Protect Our Girls campaign.
Yeah, for the Protect Our Girls campaign. We're fighting for custody rights to take these young girls away from their abusers and back to a loving home. So if you support any of that stuff that I just laid out, please donate at the links posted below. And it's time, y'all, to take a PROPER-GANDER at Stranger Things. So Stranger Things is essentially a product of a new Red Scare. What a Red Scare is, in the Cold War era, because of the rivaling superpowers that were America and Russia, America internally had a lot of propaganda and a lot of state initiatives to suppress quote-unquote un-American activity. So that was way back in the day, but now that has been reignited. So it was reignited essentially by the Democratic Party. If you know anything about Obama's late term, and with Hillary being his, I think, Secretary of State, he essentially started this new Cold War, this new Red Scare. He was sending NATO troops to I believe it was like either Poland or Sweden, and Russia had to come in and pretty much stop that, and it kind of like created tensions between these two countries. And because Hillary Clinton lost to Trump in the very next election, it was a perfect scapegoat, you see, to blame the Russians. You already know about the so-called Russiagate. Russiagate is essentially the new Red Scare. I'm saying this because there's some sort of confusion amongst the viewers of Stranger Things. People think that because Stranger Things is set in the 1980s, that they were in the Cold War then, so it's historically accurate to portray the Soviets as evil because that's what they would have done back in the day. Which, although America never really has like good relationships with the Soviets or the Russians, it's not like just because it's 1980 you have to say shit like, oh, it's time to kill commies, time to get rid of the commies, or like things like Soviet scum. Like, you don't have to do that just because you made a show in the 1980s. The real reason is our contemporary political context. That is why they made the show the way it is, because of the things like the Mueller report trying to indict Trump, that orange Cheeto looking motherfucker. They try to indict him with collusions of Russia. Now, what I'm here to say is all that shit is bullshit. And it's been proven bullshit since the very beginning. It was based on very frail claims from the Washington Post. And since then, there's been so many investigation after investigation that have just been disproven every single time. And even its most recent incarnation, like, proved without a doubt that there was no collusion between the Russian government and the American government. The real reason Trump was elected was, one, because he appeals to the racist on the ground level. He appeals to the white nationalists. It's unabashed white nationalism. And after Obama, them crackers needed that shit. And the fact that okay, so I'm getting some info. Can y'all hear me clearly? Can y'all say in the comments if you hear me clearly or not?
I can see you. It says interrupted.
Let me know, because I'm kind of going off. And I don't want to... Y'all gotta let me know. Can y'all hear me? I'm not getting any feedback. Let me know if y'all can hear me. I gotta say idea. Can I be heard? Black power. Okay, so I guess I just have no choice but to keep going, really. So the political context of that this show was made was in this new Russiagate scandal, and people have already, the media has already accepted this narrative that Russia hacked the Americans' like electoral systems and whatnot. But it's a kind of like biblical faith at this point. It's not based on any fact. It's based on just like this kind of like hopeful wishing in a way, because they don't want to believe that Trump had won in his own like legitimate way. I mean, at least as legitimate as America's electoral processes can be, which is not a really democratic process at all. So yeah, if you don't believe me that is the influence of this show, you need to not look any further than the mayor character of this show, Mayor Klein. The mayor, he is like a corrupt politician. He has like big money in his pockets, and he literally is in cahoots with the Russians invading this town. I believe it's called Hawkins. So he is represented. He's like a stand-in for Trump, essentially. And if you don't believe me in that regard, you should really pay attention to the part of the carnival in which they pan towards the carnival, and you could see his sign, and it is exactly a Trump 2020 sign, just with the words Klein, right? And there's also a segment where like you can see that like people were protesting against Mayor Klein's like political campaign or whatever. They were protesting outside his office, and that's reflective of how unpopular and like the kind of protest that Trump gets, because he's like a rabid white nationalist, and some people don't believe that America is a white nationalist government, which it is. This show is very skillful in the way it portrays its American patriotism. It's obviously one to the liberal sector of the white ruling class. It peppers its whole scenes with Star-Spangled Banners. Like the capitalist culture of America is really put on a pedestal here and put in the forefront. Wherever you see a character in a store or even in their room, they are consistently like eating like products like M&Ms or whatever, and it's always they always show the label first. You know what I'm saying? And it's also like vintage products. You know what I'm saying? It's a kind of fetishism of these old-timey, like a nostalgic feeling for these products that they associate with happiness in this show.
Sorry. I think it's because I'm not connected to the internet, but this is happening.
Black Power, y'all. Give me a second. We're going through some technical difficulties. Black Power. Hopefully y'all see me better. I don't know. Okay, so I was saying that this show is honestly like very masterful in portraying atmosphere. Whenever they show America or what is to be known as American culture, which is a capitalist culture of consumerism, they show their white working class citizens drinking Slurpees, and even like a regular ass 7-Eleven has all its colors just popping. But when they show the Russians, it's always a dull, bleak, kind of ominous nature to it, and they're always like arguing with each other or even outright fucking murdering each other. You feel me? Like, they portray the Russians as such savage beasts. It's like cartoonishly like foolish. You know what I'm saying? To depict a people to be this way. And you need to look no further than the very first scene. The very first scene, you see the Russian scientists fucking with their laser, trying to open the gate to the other side, which you should really notice that the way they turn on the laser is the same way you would turn on, or it's depicted like you turning on like a nuclear warhead. So the metaphor there is that they're in the arms race. They have this new weapon that can give them an advantage over the American government, right? But we know that it's opening the gate to the upside down, right? And something happens, something malfunctions, and everybody's getting fucked up. You know what I'm saying? The scientists are kind of tripping, and the main Russian commandant literally like murders, like just chokes out, picks him up from off the ground and chokes out the scientist that was responsible. And right when he kills him, the camera pans up to the communist flag, and that kind of directing, it's trying to tell you, it's trying to associate these two pictures. One picture of unimaginable violence, of arms race, like building up weapons, and then they're associating that with the communist flag. They're associating those things with the Soviet flag. Immediately, they show a mall, which a lot of this actually takes place in that mall, and it's like motherfuckers like making corn dogs and being at work, and it's like kids hanging out, and it's like everyone's happy in the capitalist system. And it's the same way that they associate violence and being unsociable with communism. They associate happiness and like friendship and all that stuff with capitalism, and it's all it has to do with the way the shots are shot, you know what I'm saying, and the general atmosphere of the show, which is actually kind of masterful. But you have to be really critical, because when something is that like expensive looking, when something is done like that well, it means it's well funded, and that means that there's an agenda being pushed, because whoever's paying for that has an agenda to be pushed, right? So once you see that the Russians like are opening up the gate or whatever, you see that there's the monster from the second season, and essentially what it does is it's consuming people. Like it like uses this kind of like arm or whatever, and it puts it on your face, and it pretty much consumes you. It gives it the ability to control you. And that is a long-standing tradition of anti-communist films. The idea of a hive mind is always associated with communism. So pretty much the mind flayer, as they call it, the mind flayer gets its victim, right? Controls it. The victim no longer has like individuality. Controls it, and then eventually like melts down that victim's body so it can like synthesize onto its own body, and becoming like one union. So really, that's a textbook anti-communist allegory for the paranoia of the communal kind of idea that communism has. When I say a long-standing tradition, I mean movies like The Return of the Body Snatcher or George A. Romero's zombie films. People have interpreted those as anti-communist films, especially The Return of the Body Snatchers, which is the same thing. Pretty much aliens come down and like consume people and take over, and then they're like walking automatons or whatever. And the frightening part of that is the loss of individuality for the viewer, for the American viewer. So in the same regard, they're associating that with communism, and they're afraid to lose their individuality, because America is a country founded on capitalism and the political philosophy of liberalism, where liberalism pretty much the individual is the end all be all. If you do for the individual, everything else fixes itself. That's really the political philosophy. I was just looking at some comments, and Black Power Shamit. I know that there are people who interpret the George A. Romero as anti-capitalist, but there are people who flip it and interpret it the opposite way, as a loss of individuality, which things are up to interpretation, but like Stranger Things specifically, like it is so blatantly anti-communist, it's like ridiculous. They're always talking about like Soviet scum and things like that. So let me just scroll down. I want to make sure that y'all are following me. You feel me? Yeah, Black Power Valencia. Stranger Things is really not all that. It's just expensive looking. I think that the most appealing thing for Stranger Things is like this white nationalist like nostalgia to it. It's almost like a Make America Great Again thing, where people who live here or are youth, right? They see everything that's going on in America or whatever, and they long for a better time. This kind of propaganda, this kind of representation of that time fits that narrative of like, oh, this is the better time. This is where we had Chuck Taylors and we rode our bike to the mall and we had corn dogs and, you know what I'm saying? Like, we made out and make out point and shit like that. So like, that's how people think about these times, because they know it via the propaganda. So yeah, just wanted to make sure y'all following me. So the body snatcher thing is definitely allegory for the fear of losing individuality to communism. Next thing on my little card notes thing is the goddamn pig, which is like the main fucking character. He's like this renegade cop that doesn't play by the rules or whatever. And I just want to speak to how much the white populace loves that kind of narrative. They love the idea of a cop who's almost like this cowboy type. Like, he's slinging guns, he's like smoking his cigars, he's not in tune with his feelings, he's too masculine to have feelings and shit. So like, they idealize this man. So there's the ideal man, and there's the fact that he's a cop. And the appeal of the renegade cop is that he is not a puppet to the state. He's not a puppet to the white ruling class. So that's appealing to him, because people still, even though they fucking love America and shit, even though, yeah, the average white colonizer, exactly, deal. They love that shit. They love a renegade cop that doesn't play by the rules. It's like in a whole bunch of motherfucking movies. It's in Fast and the Furious, Bad Boys 2, where it's like some neo-colonialism shit where the cops happen to be black. But yeah, the fantasy is that the renegade cop is not subjected to the white ruling class and is acting on morals, which is completely a fantasy, because as I'm pretty sure everybody in this room knows, that if you are a cop, you work for white power. That is your condition. That is the condition of your employment. If they make a law up there, if the white ruling class makes a law, you have to enforce it on the ground level. That is your job as a pig. Yeah, it really speaks to like some like fake ass fantasy that these people have, that like cops are good people essentially. Black Power Cameron. Cameron asked the question, why is the black kid with the white girl? It's because this particular form of media is one to the liberal side of the ruling class, right? And liberals want to believe in like inclusion and things like that. They don't really see that the power dynamic is so different. You know what I'm saying? that they'd just be like, man, we should all just hug and love and not see race. So with that interracial relationship, that's the message that they're going, that they're like beyond that. He's also just like a token black kid. Like, he's literally the only black child in like the main cast. You feel me? Like, it's some nefarious liberal shit, because we know that even like right now there's like a viral video of like these this cracker like yelling at his like Mexican wife or whatever, and that just shows to like when you as a white person internalize your superiority, and when you as a colonized individual internalize your inferiority because of the way white nationalism is pervasive in your culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot to untangle when you're in an interracial relationship, bro. Like, it's not all good or whatever. But yeah, speaking of black characters, we have to talk about Erica, bro. Erica is such a nefarious fucking character, bro. She's actually the younger sister of the token black child. And I saw a fucking article by Afropunk that was just praising this child. She's like, oh, she's so sassy and black, and the narrative is that, oh, we're finally getting representation. You know what I'm saying? They're putting us in movies or whatever. This child, this young black girl, literally says, I love capitalism in this fucking show. Like, wow. To be to one of the most oppressed sectors of in America or in the world in general, and to say, I love capitalism. I love the same system that is built on the enslavement of my people, that is built on imperialism. That's the system that I love. Like, it's foul. Like, she was cool, she was entertaining because she had like quips or whatever, but that's really where they fuck you up, because you want to identify with this child, right? So you being a grown man, or you being grown up with a revolutionary mindset, you know that you can detach yourself. But if you're a child and you associate with that child, you identify, you're going to repeat what she says. You're going to say, I love capitalism. I hate commies. She literally says like, yo, let's take out some commies. And that's what they want you to identify with. This is the most important thing that African and colonized people have to take from this show. That they want you to identify with Erica to disconnect you with the very communist, at least anti-capitalist history of your people here in America, bruh. Malcolm X explicitly said, if you are interested in freedom, then you must be anti-capitalist. Like, he knew that capitalism was the system of his oppression. Huey Newton, an outward communist, in a time where you could get like fucking deported for being a communist, much more a black communist. But I can go on. Kwame Ture, Assata Shakur, that is our heroes. Those are the people they want to disconnect you from, and that is the function of that character. That's why they make her likable. That's why they brought her out of nowhere for this season. All she's there for is to shit on commies and love capitalism. All she does is hang out in the motherfucking mall and eat ice cream, as if that just overshadows decades and like years of oppression. It's pretty wild. So yeah, there's a lot of nefarious themes in this, and I don't like say that word a lot, but the shit was nefarious. You feel me? One particular thing that was really interesting to me, the way they conveyed it, was the character, I forget his real name, but the pig called him Smirnov. Smirnov was a Russian scientist working on that fucking laser thing that opened the gate that I was telling you about. He got kidnapped by the pig, right? And the pig wanted information from him because all pigs know how to do is use violence to extort people. So he was doing that to Smirnov, the Russian scientist, right? And Smirnov, Alexei, that's his name, thank you. Alexei was a hostage, bruh. Held hostage by Americans. And you know how they fucking won Alexei to the side of the Americans? Guess. Just guess, bro. If you haven't seen it. Bruh, they gave him a Slurpee and a hamburger. And had him watch cartoons and shit. And him as a hostage was eating this burger and shit like, damn, capitalism is great. Like, damn, I can get a cherry Slurpee. It's so crazy, bro. Like, it's so cartoonishly dumb to think that you could sway someone who spent their life, you know what I'm saying? Like, devoted to, like, science and shit. What his character was really used for was was really shown in a carnival scene, right? Where his captor, and I'm gonna say this quote, his captor is walking through the carnival and then says, "It cannot get more American than this. Fatty foods, ugly decadence, and rigged games." So he says that, and Alexei, the hostage, says, he looks around and he says, "These games don't look rigged to me," right? So Alexei ends up going to play the games and is actually excelling at the games. He won like his favorite cartoon stuffed animal, right? And the allegory there with Murray's quote, and I'm gonna say it again, "It does not get more American than this. Fatty foods, ugly decadence, and rigged games." The rigged games that he's talking about is the capitalist game of working and then expecting like this kind of reward. But Alexei sees past that. He says that it's not a game, and he actually excels. What they're trying to show you is that if you put your mind to it, you will in turn gain a profit from capitalism. You will get your just dues if you are smart like Alexei, and it doesn't matter if you're Russian like Alexei. That's what the allegory is. And Alexei won his games, got his stuffed animal, and in that same carnival, he was shot by his so-called comrade. And like I had just laid out, that pretty much symbolizes that the threat to capitalism is the Russians, is the foreigner. America always has to fabricate a antagonistic relationship to foreigners because its economy depends on imperialism. Y'all follow me? Shit, give me some hearts if y'all follow me. Y'all gotta let me know. Or feel free to ask me questions too. I'm super down. But y'all with me on that? Y'all seen that? Like, is that a stretch? I don't think so. Like, it was like real cut and dry. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Alexei. Yes, comrade. Cameron. But yeah. In conclusion, really, Lucas the Black Kid is kind of lack agency. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Lucas just tags along with all his white friends. So really, to me, the Mind Flayer represents like the chaotic threat of communism to America, represented in the everyday white cast. You know what I'm saying? Like the white cast, like one of them comes out as a lesbian, which and like the like popular white kid. I don't know these motherfucking kids' names because I don't fucking like this show. But the popular kid accepted her for her coming out or whatever, which is probably insane because I'm pretty sure like back in those days that probably would not have happened. But okay, yeah, there's like the white lesbian girl, the popular white boy, the kid, the young black child or whatever. All these are supposed to represent like how diverse America is and how if we could just get along, you know what I'm saying, with completely with a disregard to the to oppression and the way how foul America treated all those marginalized people. They want you to forget that oppression, and they show you a picture of everybody just getting along, and you just think that like, oh yeah, we just need to do that, when really we have to overturn the oppressive system. If we ever do want to get along, y'all gotta stop fucking oppressing us. That's just the way it is. But yeah, Stranger Things is born out of this Russian Red Scare. It's like so violently anti-fucking Russian. It's like, it's wild. But that's like the main overview that I had so far, comrades. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I hope I was like consistent or whatever, but I'm down to open it up. Hit me up in the comments, bro. Hit me up. Ask me some questions. Y'all got any questions? Let me look for some more notes, if anything.
Shaman said lots of new movies that show what relationships with white and colonized persons, like Spider-Man was the same.
Yeah, it's all a part of that liberal. What's a good commie movie, Shamit? I really like the spook that sat by the door. It's like a low key movie though. Like I just found out about it, but it's fucking hard. Daniel L. Mapp, is it anti-communist? It is absolutely anti-communist. There's times where they're like walking through the facility made by the Soviets or whatever, and just based on them being communists, they found like this loophole in the structure. And Erica, the young black sister who loves capitalism, was like, "That's what happens when when you're a commie. You cut corners." Blah, 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 blah. Even though them motherfuckers made the first cell phones, them motherfuckers were the first ones to go to space. Was that cutting corners? I'm sure they did a whole bunch of other shit too, but I ain't no fucking tanky. I'm here for African people and colonized people. I know that we're the true proletarian, and although I do respect the Soviet Union for like having an example of the first socialist model, that don't mean that I just gotta follow everything that they say. You feel me? Appreciate that, Dia. Yeah. Where are the black parents? Yo! Damn. They're literally non-existent. They're just running. I don't know. Black Power, Pedro. I really appreciate that. Yeah, you really gotta think of things as like a metaphor, you know? This is like an easier one because they outwardly said what this is about. Like they outwardly like I heard the rumors that it was anti-communist, anti-Soviet, but like just watching that motherfucker was wow. Like they would just constantly shit on Russian motherfuckers, bro. It is crazy. Randy, they weren't at the fair? Was they at the fair? They didn't show them motherfuckers, bro. They didn't show them the parents, bro. I'm gonna tell you that. Shamit, you need to do Black Panthers. Wow, Kimia, that's actually a good point. That the lack of them not showing their parents could be an allegory for the absentee black parent trope. I could see that. Absolutely. Any more questions? Keep it coming, y'all. I'm also down, like, if you catch this later, I'm probably going to be following this, so you can, like, feel free to post a comment, even if you caught it later. Is there anything I liked about the show? Bruh, I feel like I kind of like the action. I'm not going to lie. Like, it wasn't something that was super, like anime fight scene where it's, like, well choreographed and motherfuckers is dodging. But it kind of has, like, that high stakes type shit. Because, like, when Eleven uses, like, her powers, she kind of, like, fucks herself up. She, like, bleeds out her nose and stuff. And you're just like, damn. Like, how long can she do that for? And she's straight fighting, like, this crazy beast. Or, like, the people who were, like, possessed by that mind flare or whatever, they also were, like, way more powerful. Like, ridiculously more powerful. So that was kind of cool. It was on some old X-Men shit. That pretty boy just stopped being racist? Probably not. He did sacrifice himself for the greater good. And I think what they were trying to do, because the pig also sacrificed himself, I think because this is the liberal sector of the ruling class, they really subscribe to that, like, white feminist line. So what I think that they were trying to do with having, like, the male patriarchs, or people who exhibit patriarchal machismo, they sacrifice themselves. Because if you look back in the past, a lot of the time the woman kind of, like, sacrifices herself for the man consistently. I need to do Black Panther. That shit is insidious. Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of actually Comrade Ghazi made like an analysis on that. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of old though. Part 2 is coming out, so I'm probably gonna do that. Billy's puberty mustache makes me laugh every time. Bro, that dude is so fucking ugly. And he's supposed to be like this badass, like fucking everybody's mama and shit. So stupid. But yeah, comrades, I think that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And again, if you did enjoy this, please support my group. My organization, Black Hammer. We're doing a lot of work, and we're probably one of the fastest growing organizations out there right now. So if you want to get involved, go to blackhammer.org/sign up. If you just want to donate, if you just want to support, go to blackhammer.org/donate. Me and my comrade Ghislaine, we out here doing an Orlando food drive. We're going to be in the hood. We're going to be in OBT. We're going to be in Paramore. We're going to be in Mercy. We're going to be at... Where the fuck we going to be at, G?
You name
the hood.
Out.
And we're going to be giving out food to the impoverished, colonized people out there. But yeah, if you want to donate to that, the Cash App is $BH Food Drive. So yeah, Black Power, comrades. White people think Ted Bundy is hot. Shake my damn head.